Welcome back to Higurashi. So, yeah, we've just started getting into the dark moments in Watanagashi. And, but yeah, let us continue on with this. I let out a great big yawn. It was like morning had just arrived, just as I got to sleep. As Mom set up the breakfast, she gave me a pained smile. What's the matter, Keiji? What time did you go to sleep last night? And hello to everyone in the stream. Welcome and enjoy the show. Well, I wanted to go to sleep at midnight, but I had some trouble with that. You were probably all worked up from the festival. No, that's not it, crunch crunch. I crunched down hard on the pickled radish to hide my embarrassment. After all that happened yesterday and our discussion about the sound Shion heard, that banging noise like a child far away jumping up and down on a wooden floor. You know, I just realized that I kind of figured what she's talking about, but I won't mention that until later in Minagoroshi. The story wouldn't get out of my head, so I had trouble sleeping. It was a long night. I kept jumping at the slight sounds of faraway tree branches, which should have been either unhearable or too insignificant to notice. When I woke up to the morning sunlight and birds chirping, it made me feel pretty ashamed about it, but I felt far from refreshed this morning. Keiji-kun, good morning! Huh? Keiji-kun, your eyes are all red. Why is that? Why? Oh, hey, good morning. I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm sleep deprived today. Ooh. The festival yesterday was a lot of fun. Rena's excitement took a long time to go to sleep, so I took a long time to go to sleep too, to sleep. In Rena's case, her excitement still seemed to be wide awake. They should have this kind of festival more often. Oh, they should have this kind of festival more often so we can have lots of fun together again. How? Yeah. Rena's talking about the festival yesterday made me remember everything I had nearly forgotten from last night. Oh no. The inside of the ritual storehouse had been so utterly different from the relaxed, bright everyday life to Hinamizawa. All those stories that Takano-san told me too. The mysterious incidents that occurred on the day of the Watanagashi festival every year. The strange incidents where one person would die and one would disappear. The old stories of Hinamizawa flickering like a candle behind them. The numerous and horrifying traditions of Onigaifuchi village. The villagers with demon blood in them. The terrible cannibalistic feast. The poor sacrifices kidnapped from human villages, victims of the Onikakushi. To quell the rage of Oyashiro-sama, the ritual involving living sacrifices, there were also many others. Right. There were so many stories that just remembering them put me in a foul mood. Most of them weren't fiction either. They were true. We didn't need to fear them just because they were real though, since it all happened so long ago. Such a very long time ago. Where's Mi-chan? She's late. Huh? Before I realized it, we have arrived at the place where we usually meet with Mion. Probably because I was so lost in thought. We agreed that if she's isn't here by now, we can just go on ahead, right? Did we? Mion being late wasn't too rare an occurrence. I see. But today she was unusually late. A few of the ominous tales from the night before came back to my life in my mind again. Who would die this year and who would disappear? It could have been Mion. What should we do, Keiji-kun? If we don't get going, we'll be late. She'll be here. She didn't call to tell us she'd be staying home today, right? Let's wait 5 more minutes, okay? Rena looked at her watch and seemed a little worried, but then she nodded with a satisfied smile. If we had to wait 5 minutes, we'd have to run as fast as we can, as fast as we could to the school, or we'd be late. As soon as I thought that, we spotted Mion running towards us out of breath. Mi-chan! You're late! You waited? You should have just gone on ahead. Mion was breathing heavily and her face was all red. Her house was right down this road, wasn't it? It wasn't far enough away for her to end up like this, was it? Mi-chan, are you not feeling well? Huh? Now that she mentioned it, Rena pushed Mion's bangs away and put her hand to her forehead. Rena, your hand is pretty cold. Mi-chan, you're a little bit warm. It's no big deal. Give it half a day and I'll be fit as a fiddle. Are you really okay? You don't have to push yourself, you know. What's this? Kei-chan, are you worried about me? That's nice of you. That answer wasn't like Mion at all. She must have had it pretty bad. I think you shouldn't push yourself so hard. We can tell the teachers you had to take the day off. I'm fine. Right. I took some medicine. I think it's already working. Mion forced an energetic smile on her face and flexed her biceps at us. Insert Pillar Men theme here, and yes, I've recently taken an interest in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures thanks to if the Emperor had a text-to-speech device. You'll know what I'm talking about if you watch that. Oh, okay, then let's go. Don't overdo it, but of course there's the time. What? We need to run or else we won't make it. This morning sure is thrilling. Maybe it's just what I need to shake off this slowness. Let's run. Hey, wait, you're sick. Don't go overboard. Mion began to run vigorously anyway. Mi-chan is older than us, right? She knows her own body better than anyone. I decided to leave it at that and assumed she was fine. Great, then we should get going too. We began to run after Mion. The school looked the same as always. The hours passed listlessly, and my lack of sleep took its toll. If there was a sport where people competed by sleeping, I'd be world champion right now. The trick to overcoming this sort of dangerous situation was to hold your pencil upside down. Why, you ask? So you don't draw strange patterns all over your notes while half asleep. If you were holding your pencil upside down, that wouldn't happen, would it? Bump, 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 bump. Something like that, like an eraser hit me in the head 6 times. Ow, ow! What was that for, Satoko? I haven't done a single thing. Who else would play a prank on me like this? Oh, it was a chalk, not an eraser. Eh? Behind me, like a female outlaw might hold razors, was the teacher's shadow, holding 3 pieces of chalk in each hand. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Hi, Beta-kun. Out of curiosity, since I've seen the Steam cards... Go and wash your face. Right. Gladly. Yeah, maybe. That alone was enough to wake me up, but I flew out into the hallway as if shoved out by the pressure exuded by the teacher's sheer power. If I was going to wash my face anyway, then I would rather use the sinks out front rather than the ones in the dark restroom. Thinking that, I left the hallway and went to the entrance. The sunlight was strong, so strong you wouldn't think it was June. I turned on the faucet, and with a lifeless bubbling noise, lukewarm water came pouring out. If I let it run for a few moments, would it get cold? I looked at it absent-mindedly for a little while. I knew you'd choose these sinks, Kei-chan. The ones out front just feel better, don't they? Mion? Oh god, the yawning is gonna make me tired. No cutting class now. I stuck my hands into the water to find it had gotten so cold it seemed strange it had ever been warm. I scooped it up and splashed it against my face. Once I was done, I moved out of the way, and Mion did the same. Mion, how is your cold doing? You're sleepy because of the medicine and not from the lack of sleep, right? Actually, this is a secret, but after the festival yesterday, I got wrapped up in the party my relatives were having. And well, I had a bit. A bit? She made a gesture like she was tilting a cup into her water. Which means you didn't have a cold or anything. Are you hungover? How old are you? Nah! Give me a break. I really don't feel well, you know. I suppose she'd be feeling lousy either way. Still, you treat colds and hangovers in completely different ways. I was worried over nothing. Man, I guess that's just like you, Mion. Mion scratched her head, a little embarrassed. She didn't seem to be feeling well, but now that I knew it was a hangover, I didn't need to worry too much. It would go away with time after all. Oh, but my head is really pounding, so the teacher told me I should go home early. Ack, you cheater. So are you going home now, Mion? Now that I look again, Mion had her bag with her. She must have been on her way home. Yep, I feel bad about it though. I'll get some rest at home like a good girl. Sorry I can't make it to the club. Would you take over as leader today, Kei-chan? I don't know if that would happen. We have that unspoken rule where we don't do club unless everyone is there, don't we? We never did it when you had to go to your part-time job, did we? Okay, that's a bit of a suspicious question. Mion laughed worriedly, saying we didn't need to worry about her. No matter how much fun we have, though, I think that feeling guilty about friends who can't share it in it is a sign of a really fantastic friendship. In that sense, the club Mion has created is a wonderful thing. As I thought about it, the moisture on my washed face dried up. I suppose we were talking too much. If I didn't head back to the classroom soon, I could get in trouble. Okay, later. I'm going back. Be careful on your way home. Don't wobble into a sewer or a brook, got it? I left it at that, turned around, and started heading back to the classroom. Oh, one more thing, Kei-chan. Mion stopped me and I turned my head to listen. What's up? This may sound a bit weird, but don't think too hard about it. Well, that depends on what it is. You know, like I said, what she just said, what I'm about to read, yeah, indeed. What I'm about to read does seem pretty suspicious regarding the confusion between Mion and Shion. Anyway, last night near the end of the festival, did you see Tomitake-san or Takano-san anywhere? I suddenly tensed up. You know Tomitake-san and Takano-san, right? You remember, Kei-chan, when the four of you were talking during the setup the day before? Yeah, because why I said that, I think where we last left off, Mion had no idea. The Mion in the festival last night had no idea of what went down. For what we know, she and Keiji were just going together. Anyway, when the four of you were talking during the setup the day before, if I could, I wanted to forget about sneaking into the storehouse that night as soon as possible. So hearing the names of the people I was with at the time really got to me. Besides that, though, why was Mion asking me a question like that? Oh, I knew turning off the lights was a horrible idea. I ended up staring at her, unable to answer immediately. Was she asking to see if I had seen them or not? Or was she asking the question knowing that I had? I couldn't tell. Well, maybe? I might have seen them around, I don't know. My vague response was clearly not to Mion's liking. You did? How are you doing tonight? And I'm good before you could answer that deftly. Yeah, I didn't even need to remind you about the Higurashi stream either. My vague response was clearly not to Mion's liking. What answer was she expecting from me? There was no way for me to know. I see. Then one more question on the same night. Did you see Shion? Dude, stop making it so obvious. Mion. My heart leapt into my throat again. The tiny needles buried underneath Mion's words pricked into me. Did you ask me that yesterday? I think I told you I wasn't sure if I had or not. Did you? Oh, Jesus Christ, here we go again. I knew that was coming. Oh, I don't know if that was a serious or nervous laugh. Okay, I guess I just thought I'd get an answer if I asked you again. I suddenly noticed something in Mion's eyes, something indescribable. Yeah! Tomitake-san and Takano-san. Shion too. You've seen the Miyakashi anime adaptation, right, Deathly? I would assume so. Just don't spoil anything if you do. She was asking me about them. There was no doubt about it. Last night, the four of us snuck into the ritual storehouse. She knew everything. Oh god, anything but like Rena from Onikakushi-hen. Well, I'm just asking, so you don't have to spoil it. Because I'm sure you know who that Mion actually is in disguise. So what? It's not really a curse anyway. That's right. Even Shion and Takano-san said yesterday during the festival that there was no curse. And that rather than a curse, it was the doing of the villagers. My blood curdled. Mion was, almost without a doubt, aware that we snuck into the storehouse. It was something strange. I screwed up bad flipping on the light switch last night. If Mion had been searching for me, it was simple to imagine that she had seen that momentary light and come to find out what was going on. Oh, I was liking the other eyebrows. The other eyes. Did you really not see her? Why are you so intent on knowing if I did or not? It's not important. It's just there are some people who are speaking poorly of Tomitake-san, Takano-san, Shion, and you, Kei-chan. I didn't really hear what they were saying though. Unpleasant sweat dripped down my arms. Yep. And the sound of it hanging from my fingertips was so annoyingly loud. I don't believe that you were doing something bad. I just wanted to ask a bit about it, so I did. Sorry for making you uncomfortable, okay? I found myself unable to reply. My reaction must have made it obvious what the truth was, and yet I couldn't explain myself. Kei-chan, you weren't with Tomitake-san, Takano-san, or Shion, right? Yeah. I finally wrung out an answer between ragged breaths. Mion's expression softened a little. That's good. I'll have to tell him. You weren't involved in anything bad, Kei-chan, so I'll make sure to tell everyone. Yeah, please do. Tell them I wasn't doing anything bad. To everyone, make sure. Everyone. Everyone? Who is everyone? Okay, later. I'll be better tomorrow. Bye-bye. Wait, Mion, what do you mean by everyone? Just then, a freezing cold hand touched the back of my neck. Hey! You're late, my Barakun. How long does it take you to wash your face? It was the teacher. So I guess the artwork for the teacher is like later in the series. It was taking so long, she came out to get me. I'm sorry. I was speaking to Mion. I turned around, but Mion had crossed through the schoolyard without me realizing it and was now standing at the gate. Dun dun dun! Come, back to your studies. Quickly now. The teacher wasn't being insistent. We returned to the entrance. I looked back one more time and Mion was nowhere in sight. Keiji, you haven't seemed well all day. It's clearly because he had far too much fun yesterday. I don't want to be told by the one who got lost. Your face was all red and you were nearly crying. Satoko-chan was so cute last night. How? My friends did their best to try and cheer me up, but it didn't lighten my mood. Was it far worse than I thought? Had I really done something that terrible last night? These thoughts remained with me for the rest of the day. Bye, Keiji-kun. I'll see you tomorrow. By the time I realized it, I was in front of my own house. Mi-chan had a cold, right? Could you have a cold too, Keiji-kun? Could you? Huh? I'm fine. I may look scrawny, but I've never missed school because of a cold. Both of you and Mi-chan didn't look so good today, though. Yeah. Thanks for worrying about me. I'm fine. Idiots don't catch colds, remember? Rena smiled, then waved to me and left. Whew! With my shoulders bobbing up and down from breathing heavily, I entered the house. As soon as I got back in, Mom called out to me. What? Keiji? I'm sorry, but could you go to the library and return a few books for me? Huh? I don't feel like it. Your dad and I have to wait inside the house for a phone call right now, so we can't leave. I need to return them today. Could you please do it? Sheesh. Did it have to do with Dad's job? No point in arguing if they bring that up. I guess so, but I don't know where the library is. Oh, you don't? It's a little bit past Okinomiya Station. Just then, the phone rang. My parents' face immediately turned grim. Mom snatched up the receiver. Hello? Maebata speaking. I'm sorry? Yes, he's right here. Then she thrust the receiver at my face. It's for you, Keiji. Don't take too long, okay? I tried to ask who it was from, but asking the person on the phone would be faster. Hello? This is Sonosaki, the younger one. Hello. Do you have time to talk right now? It was Shion. The older sister had a hot hangover today, but the younger made no reference to it. Shion? I thought you'd be sleeping in today with a hangover, same as Mion. What? Mion had a hungover? That is so like her. She laughed warmly, but Mom glared at me, silently telling me to finish up. Whoops, sorry. My parents are waiting for an important call, so I can't talk for too long. What do you need? There's something I wanted to talk about. If we can't talk long, I guess that's that. She sounded a little disappointed. What would Shion want to talk to me about? Now I was interested. Then how about we meet in person? If you could show me where the library is too, that would be great. You mean the public library near the station? Yes, that's fine. I go past on my way to work anyway. Okay then. You know where I usually meet up with Mion. At the intersection where the small path from the Sonosaki house splits. Oh, Kei-chan? Did I not tell you I don't live at the main house? I live in Okinomiya? If we could meet by the ticket machines at the Okinomiya station, that would be great. Main house? Living in Okinomiya? Now that she mentioned it, It always seems like the Sonosaki sisters weren't communicating. Did they live in different houses? At least, also, now that she mentioned it, Rena said she never met the younger sister, despite going over to play sometimes. Let's meet at the station then. I'll go there right away. Bye! I set the receiver down and Mom immediately thrust a large pile of library books in my face. 6 volumes of long-form mystery novels. Mom had her own hobbies. Thank you, KG. Be back by nightfall. Got it. Okay, I'm going. I suppose I changed my clothes and grabbed my bike key. I climbed the stairs to my bedroom. Yeah. Shion had been waiting for me already, so meeting up was a smooth process. Oh, Mio never keeps her appointments. I mean, honestly. Making my sister the standard for everything will get you in trouble. Shion seems a little unsteady too. She was drinking with Mio last night, wasn't she? You were drinking too last night, weren't you? Don't try to hide it. You definitely went home from school early. Oh, too bad. I've been at home all day in the first place. I'm smarter than Mion after all. Hey, I don't think you call playing hooky smarter. You should finish your errand first. We don't have much time. Not much time. We're going to the library, right? Yeah, thanks. My mom had to return some books by today. Is the library far? No, it's really close by. As she said that, we spotted the signboard for the library almost immediately. If it was this easy to find, then I guess I didn't need Shion to show me where it was after all. We rode around a bend and the building was right there. Shishibone Public Library. We lived in the country, so I didn't expect too much, but it was pretty big. The first floor was actually a government office, so the library was only on the second floor, but it still looked large enough to fit a decent collection of books. We passed through the automatic doors and were greeted by a cool breeze of an air curtain. Cicadas had been loud outside, but it was quiet inside the library. The air conditioning inside was keeping the temperature at an ideal level for the books, which had that mildewy smell unique to old paper. I guess every library is basically the same. If there was one difference, it was the people studying for tests weren't taking up all the seats. Yeah. I guess I was one of those people, but now that seemed like a distant memory. Hello, I have books I'd like to return. The librarian went through the process of checking them in, and then returned my mom's library card. Shion was going around the bookshelves with a deeply interested look on her face, like she wasn't the type who went to libraries very often. Sorry for the wait. I'm all done. Libraries sure are nice and cool, aren't they? I want to work in a library one day. Don't know whether to call that boring or dependable. It's a pretty small dream compared to your sister. Mio would definitely want to be a hard-working employee for an international trading company or some other crazy job that involved her running all around the world. Compared to that, what Shion said is pretty heartwarming. Well, we need to keep our differences dear to us. We're not copies, we're two different people, called Shion and Mion. Twins have a lot to think about, huh? Still, it sounds like fun. I don't have any brothers, so there's just me and my parents at my house. Well, yeah. It can get a little uncomfortable. It's the same for me. I don't live with Mion after all. Alright, she said something like that, didn't she? Why though? Sisters living apart is unusual. We were getting tired of talking while we were walking. We ended up going to the lounge area, which was vacant, and continuing the conversation. Yes, Mion lives at the main house and I live in Okinomiya. What do you mean by main house? You make it sound like you're nobility. It's just the main house, the Sonosaki's family main house. Mion's the successor, so she lives with Nana and apparently studies all sorts of things as preparation to be the head of the family. Mion, the head of the family? It kind of fits her personality, but kind of didn't too. Kei-chan, you just moved here, right? This will sound like I'm boasting, but we of the Sonosaki family are kind of personages around here. Huh? Seriously? The word personage didn't really match the extremely sociable air that Mion and Shion gave off. From what Shion explained, the Sonosaki family goes way back to the beginnings of Hinamizawa. After the war, they had a bunch of successful ventures and extended their influence to a wide area. The Sonosaki house is a foundation under which the entire family incorporates. Though with the current head, Grandma was the one who built it, the entire family would provide backup to help one relative with a business venture. They were like a huge living company. This let them avoid tax-related problems, and relatives' ventures succeed, one after another, using large amounts of money. If you ever go for a walk through Okinomiya, pay attention to the signboards and stuff. There's a ton of shops that are managed by members of the Sonosaki family. Now that you mention it, that toy store looked like it was managed by relatives as well. Does that mean your relatives operate Angel Mart too? Even what few shops I was familiar with involved with the Sonosaki family, it was definitely surprising. The family is particularly strong in finance and real estate. Even a lot of members of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry either have the last name Sonosaki or are their relatives. There are Sonosakis in the city council and the prefectural assembly too, since they have the Okinomiya area giving them strong electoral support. Wait a minute, this is all escalating pretty quickly. Her relatives operate shops in downtown Okinomiya, and they're especially strong in finance and real estate. On top of that, a lot of those in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry are relatives, and there are even people elected to local offices. So then, the Sonosaki family, it's pretty famous in this area. Yes, it's crazy. All of a sudden, cigarette smoking, overweight old man interrupted our conversation. Wait, I know this guy. Hello, good afternoon. Are you on a date today? What would I give to be young again? Yep. By the way, definitely, if you're still watching, check my DM on Discord. And I see Oyachi watching as well, as given the list I'm looking at. How are you doing tonight? If you thought we were on a date, then why are you bothering us? Oishi-san? Oishi. Yeah, don't mind me, I'm trying to... Even though I should have done that in Onikakushi. There we go. Oishi. Okay, there we go. Oishi-san. That was it. He was Oishi-san. Police officer. I thought it was this person who came to my rescue when I got involved with those delinquents before. Now that I thought about it, Mion didn't seem to like him very much. No, I apologize. I heard a familiar voice, so I came over to see. Oishi-san laughed coarsely, not only any signs of giving up. As Shion watched him to do so, I feel the same sense of malice from her as I had with Mion. Maebara-san, right? You're one tough guy, two-timing the Sonosaki sisters, aren't you? Or are you? No, I'm not two-timing anyone. I turned around, look at Shion, and plead for help. But she grinned and maintained her silence. Her gaze wandered. She looked at the clock. I'm sorry, Kei-chan. I really need to get to my job, huh? Oh, did you? Wait, didn't Shion have something to talk about today? Now this weird man is here, though. Yep, I'll see you later. Oh, I'll give you a call after I'm done. It'll be okay to call at night, right? Yeah, probably okay. Then I'll talk to you later tonight. Bye. Shion left so fast, she was practically running. Oishi-san was waving at me with a grin. I felt like I've left here as bait so she could get away. Maybe she was lying about having to go to work. You're quite the big shot, being so close to the Sonosaki daughters. Maybe if I should rethink how I talk to you too. Oishi-san. Oh my god, like his name is a tongue twister as well. Oishi-san put a coin into a vending machine as he said something a bit appalling. Is iced tea okay with you? Do you want milk in it? Huh? Oh, no, I'll put in some then, alright? Here you are. He handed a cup of tea filled to the brim with ice as I looked up absent-mindedly. I don't think I'm obligated to have a guy like this buy me a drink, but he did get it for me, so I'll thank him. Was Oishi-san just killing time? We didn't know each other well, but he still engaged me in conversations about all sorts of dumb things. When I thought back to how I talked with Shion, yeah, this seemed like a total disaster. Maebara-san, how much do you know about Sonosaki-san? Other than what I just heard just now, nothing. Until then, I hadn't known anything about either Mion or Shion other than the fact that they were interesting. I really did only just learn that she was the daughter of some prestigious family. The Sonosakis are a Yakuza group with this entire region under their thumb. Plus, her father is a high-ranked executive in the XX Yakuza Association. Did you know that? What? An executive? Have you ever seen where Shion-san lives? It's the very picture of a gang boss's house, protected by high walls, barbed wire fence, and security cameras. If you have the chance, you should go and visit her. She mentioned Mion being a successor, but to a Yakuza group? No. Not at all. A boring old Yakuza group isn't the only thing Mion Sonosaki-san will inherit. She's inheriting the Sonosaki family itself. Well, yeah. I'll leave it to you to mull over what exactly that means. Oishi-san had spoken lightly about all this from start to finish, but what was he saying wasn't light in the least. It was abrupt and unbelievable. If Mio-san wanted to, she could kill someone in the middle of the street and still cover it up. Not only would witnesses not show up, but she put on pressure on the police too. Mio would never kill anyone. Nah, she wouldn't. She wouldn't. I'm just speaking hypothetically. Your name, it was Oishi-san, right? Yes, that's right. And then Oishi-san? What family Mion comes from, it doesn't change the fact that she's the best friend I could ever had, and I'm proud of that. I don't appreciate people speaking ill of her. I let my quiet anger show through in my gaze as I stare at him. Of course, I could never seem to tell what he's thinking, so I didn't know if it had any effect. Let me be frank. If Mion-san was suspected of a handful of incidents, what would you think? Oh god. Suspected incidents? You can't just say terrible stuff like that on a whim. Then it would be a misunderstanding, of course. Yeah. Mion said may say some dangerous things, but she's not the kind of person who would do something awful. I never took a picture of Oishi-san, so I might as well. Maibara-san, keep your voice down. We're in a library. Oishi-san shushed me, but in a state of heightened excitement as I was, I wouldn't be calm so easily. Please calm down. As I said before, the Sonosaki family holds a lot of power in this region, for better or worse, so if anything happens, they would immediately be suspect. I'd appreciate it if you understood that. Well, I know what Oishi-san is trying to say. Combining it with what Shion told me before, the Sonosaki family is huge and controls everything from Hinamizawa to Okinomiya. Yep. Mion, meanwhile, is its successor, who apparently holds strong influence over the entire family. Still, that's all? That's the only reason they're suspecting her? I'm just doing my job here. Not to doubt Mion-san of anything, but to clear up suspicions surrounding her. Please think of it like that. He could talk a dog out of a meat truck. He was the definition of a shrewd, unfair adult. Oh, good God. At this point, I began to think that it was no coincidence that I'd met him. Oishi-san, do you need something from me? Yes, I do. Keiji Maibara? He answered in a absent tone of voice. Mion being suspected of something, and you came to hear from a friend of hers, me. Is that it? No, that isn't it. I didn't come to talk to a friend of Mion Sonosaki-san. I came here to talk to Keiji Maibara-san. It would probably have bothered you had I visited your house. To me? What do the police want with me? Having realized this fake coincidental meeting had me as its target, my mood immediately turned foul. You don't need to be so tense. Keep calm down and just answer a few questions. Am I being questioned? Let's call it a chat with a guy who happened to run into Oishi-san. Yeah, I'm still getting used to it. I'm so sorry, you guys. Oishi-san freely suggested that I relax. That said, behind his eyes was a light which I could only see sometimes. That was sharp as a hawk. If I tried in vain to run away, he might actually take me in and bring me into to an interrogation room or something. That was undoubtedly an unpleasant thought. Okay. You had a roaring good time at the Watanagashi festival last night, didn't you? Don't beat around the bush, please. I can't do small talk right now. Last night during the festival. Did you see Jiro Tomitake-san and Mio Takano-san? Oh. I could plainly feel myself give a start. Where do I put those pictures? Oh, here they are. He opened a small notebook and removed 2 photographs. I didn't have to look. Well, who knows? I might have seen them around. Don't remember. I was asked the same question for a second time today. I gave the same answer for a second time too. Your memories are blurry? You couldn't have been drinking or something. Here too, I got the same answer I had from Mio. I realized he wasn't taking my vague reply well. Why is he asking me the same thing Mio did? The dark feelings I had nearly forgotten due to my conversation with Shion came rushing back in a hurry. God. We snuck into a sacred ritual storehouse, a punishable act. It was on a tiny impulse. While it may not count for much now, I do feel sorry about it. I'll ask you again. Did you see Jiro Tomitake-san and Mio Takano-san at the festival last night? His tone was soft, but there was dreadfulness in his voice, clearly different from the first time he asked. I'm scared. That was exactly how I felt. If you repeat the question, my answer won't change. How it looks in the updated version. I don't really remember. There wasn't a better answer I could give him. I didn't have the balls to say I didn't see him, nor did I have the courage to admit I had. I see. I just thought that maybe I'd get a different answer if I ask a second time. I'm too scared to look at Oishi-san in the eyes. I'll change the question. Come, my Bella-san. Relax. Oishi-san grabbed my shoulder and squeezed them, as if trying to give me a massage. It mostly just hurt, though. Still, why would he ask me the same things as Mio? If he's asking the same things, then the next question might be... On the same night of the festival, did you see Shion Sonosaki-san? Clatter, 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 clatter. I wonder what that sound was, and when I looked down, I saw it was unmelted ice in the cup I was gripping in my hands. My hands are maroon, I think we know. My hands were trembling, rocking the ice back and forth. Realizing that I hastily put the remaining ice in my mouth and crunched down on it. Sorry. I may have seen her, but, well, you know, she just looks like Mio. I might have just mistaken the two. But that can't be. Suddenly, Oishi-san grabbed both my shoulders and hunched down to give me a level stare. This must be what it's like to be a deer in the headlights. I want to look away, but I can't. This is the first time I've experienced such a piercing stare. Alright, they're in the library. Yeah, I can't do it. Mion-san and Shion-san wear completely different clothing. You wouldn't mistake the two so easily, I would think. Maibara-san. Hi, Scenic. How are you doing tonight? Oh, I didn't even need to ask you to come to the stream as well. His voice was harsh the same as when Mion said it. I could feel my heartbeat quickening. When I realized he could feel through the hands on my shoulders, I got even more scared. Why are Mion and Oishi-san both asking about last night? Was sneaking into that storehouse so bad? Oh, I shouldn't have let Takano-san talk me into it. Tomitake-san casually said to check it out too, so... Even Shion, if she hadn't encouraged me. No, I understood. I was the one who most at fault here. I shouldn't have let my curiosity get the better at me. But yeah, how are you doing tonight, Scenic? I shouldn't have gone into the forbidden storehouse. Oishi-san, I think that's our cue to get out of here. A young man was wearing a suit came into the lounge. And the way he held himself, I knew immediately that he was Oishi-san. Oishi-san's. I think since I know san would usually mean Mr., I'll just call him Mr. Oishi. That'll do. Mr. Oishi's subordinate. Oh, so it is. Closing time already? I hadn't realized until he said something. The jingle and announcement telling patrons the library had closed and started playing without me realizing it. I was so irritated, so overwhelmed I couldn't even hear it. Well then, Maibara-kun, we're out of time, so allow me to take my leave. I'd like to talk with you more about this at your leisure, when we have more time. This isn't a joke. If I never saw him again, it would be too soon. Mr. Oishi. Okay, there we go. Mr. Oishi followed his subordinate and left the lounge behind him. However, he spun back around. All right, Maibara-san? What? What is it? Those two questions I asked you before. You don't remember well enough to answer either of them, correct? Right. Just so you know, you saw them all yesterday. You were walking along, the four of you, having quite a pleasant time. Near the stone steps, I saw you with my own eyes. Oh. I caught my breath and my heart seemed like it was about to stop. Oh, jeez, dude. What a detestable person. He knew and he was testing me. We'll meet again. Have a good year. I sat there like a rock, unmoving, until I could no longer hear the clacking sounds of their footsteps. Yeah, I didn't think the chapter was almost over. I was on my way back home. The cries of the Higurashi accentuated the already lonely evening. More times had passed than I thought. The orange of the dusky sky was being chased down, little by little, by an indigo-colored approaching from the east. Exhausted from the slow climb towards Hinamizawa, without noticing, I'd gotten off my bicycle and was pushing it uphill. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's part of this soundtrack was introduced in this one. Because I know I didn't hear it in Onikakushi. No, I don't understand any of this. No one had told me to my face that I'd done something wrong. No, in fact, it might have been much easier on me that way. What really happened yesterday really was just my curiosity. It was really no more than a quiet prank, no more than having the courage to cross at a red light as long as you did it with other people. Yeah. The storehouse is for ritual implements, hallowed ground, only accessible to the family of the priest. For sure, I'd seen terrifying things that never imagined would be there. Thinking on it now, it didn't matter what was stored away inside. It didn't make the wrong I had committed any more right. What the four of us did, Mion seemed to know about it. For some reason, even the police were trying to learn what the four of us did. Did we do something so bad? Really, it doesn't matter how wrong it was. I did something wrong. It was nothing more than that, and yet I couldn't just accept it. I didn't apologize to Mion or Mr. Oishi. All I did was shield myself with ambiguity. I can't even say it right now. I did something wrong yesterday. I set foot into a forbidden storehouse for a little bit of mischief. I'll forget everything I saw in there. I won't ever do something like that again either. I'm sorry. If I apologized like that, would they forgive me? The suddenly cool evening air left no room for such sentiment. However, as it mercilessly chilled my feet, urging me to head home as soon as possible. In the end, the evening air was correct. If I trudged along such an isolated road, regrets would pile up on top of regrets, but nothing would change. Let's go home. I'll go home to my room and put on my favorite music or something and go to bed. That might sound plain and boring, but it's probably the strongest I felt all day. Woo! Now I made a decision. There's no point in dawdling in a place like this. I sat back on my bike. I pushed hard on the pedals and rapidly advanced forward. I steadily gained speed. The wind was cutting and mercilessly cold. I see, but it actually felt good, as if it were softly punishing me. I didn't eat much dinner before excusing myself early and returning to my bedroom. My mom called me from downstairs. Keiji! You have a call. It's from Sonozaki-san. Sonozaki? Was it Mion? No, it was Shion. I just remembered. She had something she wanted to tell me today. Mr. Oishi had interrupted us, so she didn't get the chance. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Shion had said she called tonight. Hello? Is that you, Shion? Hello. Ran into a bit of trouble today, didn't we? She said it so plainly that I got a bit annoyed. She was the one who left me there and ran. Don't say that. I gave you the signal to run away with me, didn't I? You just sat there looking dazed, Kei-chan. I wasn't dazed. All of a sudden, you had left me there, and after that, I had to put up with that Oishi guy for ages. Don't complain to me about it. I can't believe she passed it off like that. She just looks like Mion, and yet inside, she's this different? I got a little irritated at myself when I realized I was somewhere in my mind hoping for the same reaction I would get from Mion, even though she's a different person. Sorry. Next time, I'll run away first thing and leave you there. Hey, it's ladies first! Shion laughed refreshingly. When I heard her voice, I'd realized that she wasn't really that angry or anything. It's just as she said. The cause of my temper was because it was my own fault for not leaving immediately. I'll stop blaming it on others. Blaming it on others would be... Anyway, you had something to tell me, right? Oh yeah. I mean, if you already know it, then it's not something that bears repeating. Do you already know? Shion lowered her voice suddenly as she was glancing around. I had no idea what I could already know. Sorry, but I have no clue what you're talking about. At least give me a hint. So that means you don't know. She seemed to take my stupid sounding question as evidence. However, her voice didn't sound disappointed or exasperated in the slightest. Actually, it's about last night during the Watanagashi festival. My entire body jolted as I assailed by a terrible feeling. Is Shion going to ask me the same thing? Hello? Kei-chan, are you listening? Yeah, I am. What about last night? The four of us went in there, right? She didn't beat around the bush. Whether or not I wanted to admit it, that was the actual honest truth, and I couldn't act like it hadn't happened. Then after that, we walked away together, and then we went our separate ways near the stone stairs, right? Takano-san and Tomitake-san went to the stream, and you stayed there, Kei-chan. I went over to see some relatives. Yeah? Why do you ask? We won't make any progress if we keep asking each other's questions. So let me ask this question first, okay? You mean, did I see Tomitake-san and Takano-san last night? Huh? Oh, yes. Did you see two of them after that? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't surprised. This is the third time I've been asked this question today. Why? Why? What's going on? Why? Why are you asking me that? No, Kei-chan. I'm asking the question. Please answer me. Did you, Shion? If you answer first, then I'll answer. My shabby response betrayed how scared and small I felt now. Everything that had happened today. Shion didn't say anything for a few moments. Just as I was beginning to think I'd really put my foot in the mouth with that response, she finally answered me. Of course I didn't see them. My relatives were with me, and they can vouch for that. I didn't see them either. People can vouch for them too, like Mion, Rena, and everyone else. Now that we knew our answers matched, she let out a sigh and sounded even more relieved than anything else. Thank you for answering me honestly. Okay, then, I'll tell you. Apparently last night, Takano-san and Tomitake-san died. Sorry, Shion. What was that you just said? Apparently last night. Okay. Takano-san and Tomitake-san died. Takano-san was found burned to death. Tomitake-san, well, it looked like it was suicide. I found out this morning. I heard my dad talking to a relative on the phone about it. Late last night, a police car on its way back from the festival security duty had discovered Tomitake-san in the middle of the road, heading towards Okonomiya. What? He had clawed out his throat and died. What? He clawed out his own throat? That bright, cheerful Tomitake-san committed suicide? That can't possibly be right. The police did an autopsy. He did it with his own fingernails. Oh, jeez. He scratched at his own throat so hard, he ruptured his blood vessels and bled out. He died in a pool of his own blood, that's what they said. I've never heard such an insane suicide. You can't just scratch your own throat like that. Then I realized I was yelling too loudly, so I lowered the force I was putting into my voice. I didn't want my parents to hear me, so I switched to the cordless phone and ran up to my own room. Sorry for yelling. So, was Takano-san, was that a suicide too? In her case, it's a little unclear. Takano-san's body was found in the mountains of Gifu Prefecture. Employees at a rest stop nearby reported to the police late that night they could see flames in the mountains. The firefighters who were dispatched there were the first ones to find her. An autopsy concluded that was a burned corpse of a half-naked female. They initially considered the body beyond recognition, but directly after, there was a request for a dental comparison from the unknown prefectural station in Okinomiya, and the results concluded that it was Mio Takano. The cause of death wasn't confirmed, but it was highly likely to have been a homicide, since she was in her undergarments and her clothes were nowhere in the area. The oil drum had fallen over, so it's also possible she burnt herself to death. It couldn't possibly have been suicide. If you're going to die, there are plenty of easier ways, aren't there? This can't be suicide. That's what I think. It's unthinkable that Tomitake-san would kill himself too. Well, yeah. After the two of us rattled on at each other, there was a silence as we paused to catch our breath. As we calmed our nerves, right then I understood what Shion's story actually meant. I think it will end up being Oyashiro-sama's curse. We all did more than enough to deserve it, after all. To deserve? You gotta be kidding. It's not like Shion wanted to see it with me. I just went along with her. I tried to say that, but I fell silent. Nothing would come of me blaming others. It didn't matter how much everyone else encouraged me. I could have put my foot down. I lost in my own laziness sense of adventure, or I guess lack of how can I say it? Never mind. Sense of adventure, and agreed to go in with them. Yes, it was my fault, and no one else's. And congrats on leveling up, Maroon. Shion, last night when we snuck into the ritual storehouse, did you predict things would turn out this way? Of course not. I mean, I thought it was pretty risky, but I never dreamed that something like this could happen. Shion's words were probably her true feelings. She knew she could get in trouble if we were caught, but that was the thrill of this little adventure. It was the same for me. Besides that, Kei-chan, think about for a moment. Didn't Oyashiro-sama's curse turn out to be a little strange this year? It was already pretty strange seeing as how Tomitake's and Takano-san died like that. Given all that, what could possibly be stranger? I mean, that they found two corpses. Remember what I said? Every other year, one person would die, and one person would disappear. This year is the first time two people have been found dead. That may be true, but that's not a huge deal, is it? It is, Kei-chan. Think about it harder. Listen. If two people die because of Oyashiro-sama's curse, then in order to quell Shiro-sama's anger, 2 people would need to be sacrificed. Is that how it works? So what? Tomitake-san and Takano-san died, so now 2 people are going to be missing this year? I don't understand why, but when I said that, I felt like my spine freeze. I don't think anyone's been confirmed missing yet. I think that those 2 people have yet to disappear. Shion, like me, was obviously getting the same feeling, crawling down her back. 2 people has yet to disappear? Shion didn't answer. I couldn't say any more than that either. A chill crept through in my clothes and tried to wrap into a fist around my heart. Cold hands feeling about on my chest. Ugh. Neither of us could say anything. Tomitake-san opened the lock and he died. Takano-san exposed to the ritual storehouse and she died. If 2 more people were to be sacrificed, then they would be none other than the ones who would enter with them, none other than us. No, this has got to be a joke. I wanted so much for her to pass this off as a joke, even now. That, though, was suddenly an incredibly difficult and selfish request. Yeah. If Tomitake-san and Takano-san died in a common way, like a car accident, I could tell myself it was a coincidence. Instead, he clawed out his own throat and she burned to death, drowned in oil in the mountains. The 2 deaths were so out of the ordinary, and that I couldn't possibly dismiss it as mere coincidence. It was as if in exchange for sneaking into the ritual storehouse, there must have been someone punishing us, some sort of cruel working behind the scene. Even so, I didn't want to accept that terrifying truth. If I did, then I would have to acknowledge that a horrible crisis was growing for Shion and I. That's why I argued against it. I argued knowing I was running away. In the first place, it's not even in the newspaper, is it? Such a monstrous incident would be all over the newspapers and television. Magazines, writers would flood the village too, thinking it'd make for an interesting story. Of course, it's not getting reported by the media. That's how it was in the past too. When the incidents occurred for a 3rd year in a row, were some third-rate magazines that sniffed out the story and ran issues full of gossip columns about Hinamizawa. Fearing that the region would develop a negative stigma, they negotiated with the prefecture and the police. Since last year, it became a big conspiracy where no information about the incidents was allowed to be leaked to the media. I hear the elders and the top brass from the Sonosaki family put all the pressure they could on the police. You mean their deaths are going to be dealt in total secrecy? That's how it is. Of course, the police are investigating it. Okay, Maroon. That's how it is. Of course, the police are investigating it. That's being performed in secret too, so I hear the investigation itself is very restricted in what it can and can't do. You could essentially say they're interfering with a police investigation. This story was unbelievable. People die and yet they don't publicize it and deal with everything in secret. If we break it down further, it means that no matter who dies in the night of Watanagashi, it won't go public. That's the biggest pile of lies I've ever heard. Kei-chan, before I said how the villagers could be the ones carrying out Oyashiro-sama's curse, that's what I mean. At some point, a tradition was created here in Hinamizawa where every year you're allowed to kill someone on the night of Watanagashi under the guise of it being Oyashiro-sama's curse. When someone dies on the night of Watanagashi, it turns into the curse of Oyashiro-sama. The curse turns into a serial murder incident. In order to avoid exacerbating the negative stigma surrounding Hinamizawa, those incidents are dealt with in secret. Oh my god, Maroon. That's insane. Dead and missing people turn up every year. How bad the stigma gets, the police have to draw the line somewhere, and don't they? You could say the incidents happening every year is mysterious, but the police can get the job done when they need to. After all, the incidents always get resolved individually. It doesn't end up being a string of incidents, you know? It just so happens that something unfortunate happens on the night of Watanagashi every year. That's all it turns into. Most of the criminals responsible for the original dismemberment were arrested. The last one managed to get and stay away. But the events were totally exposed and elucidated, so was in essence resolved. The damn supporting couple who died in an accident on the second year, that was an accidental death, plain and simple. They made it a lot of investigations into the possibility of it being a homicide, but they didn't turn up anything. I see. It ended up as an accident. It was resolved. On the third year, the priest fell ill and passed away. There were doctors present at the hospital at his deathbed, and they all had trustworthy medical certificates. They even did an autopsy. It concluded that it wasn't a homicide. That was resolved too. On the fourth year, the sister-in-law of the damn supporting couple was murdered. The criminal was an abnormal man with a history of regular psychostimulant usage. He confessed that he thought Oyashiro-sama's curse was so interesting he wanted to try it out. The criminal died of an accident while in prison, so this incident was essentially resolved as well. And hi villager, how you doing tonight? That's right, none of the incidents had any relations to another, and each was independently resolved. Yeah. So then why does an unfortunate coincidence occur every year on the night of Watanagashi? You can try and say it's a string of related incidents, but they're not related. Yet every year, someone always dies and someone always disappears. The story Takano-san told me on the day before during the setup, now that the curse really had occurred this year, I couldn't just laugh it off. Then, does that mean it'll come for us too? Just like how one person dies and one person disappears every year? Are you saying we'll be taken along with Tomitake-san and Takano-san in a race too? My lips had at some point become completely dry, and just saying that was difficult. Shion didn't respond. Her silence, however, was the clearest form of confirmation she would give me. Sure, we went somewhere we shouldn't have, but we were just looking, right? We didn't steal anything or take anything out, And we didn't tell anyone that we looked, right? I was already regretting having committed such a wrong. Even so, was it really so bad that Tomitake-san and Takano-san deserved such cruel deaths? Besides, I didn't care anything I saw in there at all. Takano-san was the only one getting so happy over it, wasn't she? Takano-san was the only one at fault. I don't have anything to do with this. I'm not interested. I'm not involved. I don't care about what was in there. I knew saying so wouldn't solve anything. I could feel myself, my cold self in the innermost depths of my heart, disgusted at my pointless howling. However, my emotions had broken through the dam, and I couldn't stop them anymore. I didn't have any interest in any of this from the start. All I wanted to do was watch Rika-chan's performance. You were the one who pulled me away from that, weren't you, Shion? I don't care whether those two were trying to steal something or try to meet up secretly or whatever. That's right, you're the one who made me go in there in the first place, Shion. You were all, Kei-chan, you need to see what's inside, and you convinced me and then pulled me in. Why did you do that? I didn't have anything to do with this. What will you do? What are you going to do? How are you going to take responsibility for this? Huh? Hey, are you listening? Click. Without any warning, the phone cut off with the soft sound of the receiver being slammed down. Shion was just as terrified as I was. I just said some really self-centered things. My riled up emotions disappeared as if they never existed. And then in their place surged waves of deep regret at having run my mouth so irresponsibly. I could try to call out Shion's name from beyond the disconnected phone before it was too late. What have I done? Shion was only trying to tell me as much as she could about this thing about to descend upon us. As for me, I could only whine like a child about it. I went to call her back, but then remembered she lived in Okinomiya. I didn't know her phone number. Since I declared to Mion that I hadn't seen Shion last night, I couldn't just call Mion and ask for Shion's phone number. I was too scared. I couldn't even call her back. I was stricken with hopeless regret. I returned the receiver to its stand and simply prayed that Shion would call me back again. Please, Shion, calm down and call me again. Ring! Hello, this is Maibara. I swept up the receiver as though it wouldn't go through if I didn't grab it at the exact moment. Is this Maibara residence? Excuse me for the late call. I'm Kimiyoshi. Is this the head of the household? It was the voice of a middle-aged man. All my hopes rushed out of me. No, it isn't. If you need Dad, I'll go call him. I went to put the receiver back down, but the man stopped me hurriedly. Oh, no. If he's busy, then it's fine. This may be a strange question, but is my old man paying you a visit? No, nobody's here at the moment. I see. Again, I apologize for calling you so late at night. Goodbye. Clack. I don't know who that was, but what if Shion tried to call while I was talking to him? I thought, bubbling with egotistic anger. Hey, wait. Give it a break, Keiji Maibara. These are the selfish emotions that made Shion mad at me, aren't they? The more I thought about it, though, the more I thought that Shion had given up hope in the short time since we had our conversation and didn't want to call anymore. Calm yourself, Keiji Maibara. If Shion does call again, then first apologize in a calm voice. If you do that, then Shion should understand. However, no matter how long I waited, the phone didn't ring again that night. Well, looks like that was it. More from the scrapbook. Close calls. So I'm looking through the achievement list. So there's 1, 2, 4. Yeah, I think I'm almost to 4 chapters left. The significance of Watanagashi. Watanagashi, a festival of hunting for sacrifices and feasting on them. While the festival itself is remarkable, it has come to be considered a form of entertainment as well. Perhaps it was because of the disparity between both an egregious act and a form of entertainment that the perpetrators began to believe themselves transcendent. However, I found some very interesting literature that appears to raise questions about that explanation. As with most oral traditions, it is not easily swallowed, but it does mention a few things that spark my interest. According to the literature, even the residents of the Onigafuchi village felt fear towards this ritual. Women and children would grow pale and tremble, and those of weak constitution would vomit. But it's said to be the dissection was an obligatory viewing. This is an extremely curious tale. Until now, I thought that the residents of Onigafuchi village were fascinated by the Watanagashi festival. They looked down on those vulgar barbaric humans and cut them open like fish. And by eating them, they reaffirmed their own holiness. At least that's what I thought. However, the villagers' gain from this ritual was not fascination, but fear, and that would suggest that the ritual meant something entirely different. There's a possibility that the executions were meant as warnings, encouraging the villagers to strictly follow religious precepts created by those with power for their own convenience. Onigafuchi village has been effectively ruled over by 3 old families called the Three Families. Without investigating the 3 families, I probably won't get any closer to the truth of Onigafuchi village. The 3 families. The 3 families referred to 3 old families who effectively came to rule Onigafuchi village. To break it down, there was the Kimiyoshi family, the Furude family, and the Sonosaki family, and each of them still exists today. Though they don't have as much control as they did in the remote past, they still hold a considerable influence today. The 3 families are considered by legend to be those in whom the blood of the swamp demons runs the thickest. The Kimiyoshi family. The Kimiyoshi family appears to have held great power as the head of the 3 families, but it doesn't have that kind of leadership today. The current mayor of the village, Yoshichiro Kimiyoshi, is from this family. The fact that the members of the Kimiyoshi family are elected as mayors every generation is thought to be a remnant of the old system. Of course, as no rival candidates appear, it doesn't change the fact that the Kimiyoshi family holds the mayoral office even through popular election in the post-war era. The Furude family. The center of the village faith since ancient times, the Furude clan has guarded the sole shrine dedicated to Oyashiro-sama. They were worshipped as the only people to represent the voice of Oyashiro-sama for a long time, but the family branched off after the war and lost most of its powers. It now consists of only the main house. The main house as well presently consists of one daughter, Rika Furude, so the lineage may end in this generation. There is apparently an old tradition of the honoring females of the Furude family, so the only daughter, Rika, is the subject of much respect among the elderly of the village. The Sonosaki family. It's said that this family held a certain police-like role of protecting the religious precepts of Onigafuchi village. Of the three families, a relatively weak position can be seen from me putting them here last. Of course, today the Sonosaki family is flourishing, and the state of affairs among the three families has completely reversed. Even now, one could say that they are in control of Hinamizawa, three families conferring with each other similar to the old way. The current head of the Sonosaki family, Oryo, I think that's right, Oryo, essentially, it's not, like I'm pronouncing it like Oreo cookies. Oryo, okay, essentially decides all the going-ons in the village by herself. Late night phone call. Excuse me for the late call. I'm Kimiyoshi. Is this the head of the household? Yes. No, not at all. Thank you very much for that. Yes. Well, you see, I do apologize for calling at this hour, but I was wondering if our old man was visiting you at the moment. You've got that right. Yes. Once again, I'm very sorry for calling you so late. Goodbye. Click. So, no good. I'm not sure what to do. He may be passionate about it, but he always at least gives us a call. You called everyone he plays Go with, right? Didn't you? Ring. Hello, is this Kimiyoshi? Is this Sonosaki? How did it go? Have you found the mayor? Oh, Mion-chan? I called everyone I could think of, but I came up with nothing. We can't find him. What do I do? Where could he be idling about? I put a word in with a bunch of people who might have an idea, but nobody did. I asked Nana about it, and she said we should get the men of the village together to search for him. At this hour, I mean, it's not like he's definitely gone missing. Watanagashi just happened. She thinks we should be a little more cautious. If we still can't find him, then we'll notify the police tomorrow in the morning. Whether or not we find him, though, we should refrain from making any false accusations. Oryo-san said that? Yes. If you can't trust her without hearing her voice, then I could put her on for you. No, that's fine. I understand. We'll get the men together and search. If we can't find him, then we'll notify the police in the morning. She'll leave it to you to organize the men. I'll be there as well as Nana's representative. Thank you. I'll get everyone together immediately. Thanks. I'll talk to you later. So this is what we've worked on so far. Save and load, save just to be safe. There was no way I'd be able to sleep. When she hung up the phone like that, I'd realized for the first time what kind of situation I was in, as well as who the only ally would support me was. I waited with bated breath for Shion to calm down and call me back. What would I do if the phone rang while I was sound asleep? No matter how long I waited, however, it never rang. Exhausted, my mind started to wander. I would jolt awake as though I heard the phone ring. In the end, I brought the cordless phone with me into my futon and went to sleep with it in my arms. Oh god. Though it didn't amount to anything. Morning came, and by that time, I was pretty sure she wasn't calling back. That was when a fierce drowsiness assailed on me. This is no time for sleep, Keiji Maibara. I slapped myself in the face a few times. Then I went to the washroom and washed my face, which was something I usually didn't do. I see. That wasn't enough either, so I just brushed my teeth. After that, I was finally wide awake. When Mom saw how strange I was acting, her eyes went wide. What's wrong, Keiji? Are you going somewhere today? Going somewhere? Yeah, to school. Keiji-kun, you don't look so good today. Do you have a cold? I'm not sick. I just didn't get enough sleep. If I space out and start talking nonsense, just humor me. I wonder what kind of nonsense you'll say. I wonder. Now I'm looking forward to it. How? I felt utterly shattered, and I still hadn't picked myself back up this morning. And for precisely that reason, Rena's smile was a sight for sore eyes. Yo, what's up, Kei-chan, Rena? Good morning. What? Me-chan, you look like you didn't get much sleep either. Mion had gone home early yesterday with a hangover, but she didn't look too good this morning either. Her usual cheerfulness was completely buried in shadow. Yeah, I went to bed like at 3. I'm a little tired. 3? Hey now, you can't just stay up. You can't keep staying up that late. You should probably read the first volume of a manga. Though it was interesting, then read the entire series, didn't you? I understand what I've done before. I understand. I've done that before. Oh, that was Keiji. I joked, trying to shake off my sleepiness. I was trying to be considerate. However, neither Mion nor Rena smiled. In fact, they didn't even pay attention. Rena's expression immediately darkened. What? Wait, is it about the mayor? He still hasn't been found? Okay, I don't want to spoil it, but I know what happened to the mayor. Nope. Hey, wait a minute. What are you talking about? You can't find the mayor. Even the classroom, which was normally bursting with bright, joking voices, seemed to fill with a different murmur today. Good morning, Keiji-san. Have you heard? It looks like something terrible has happened. I don't really know this mayor person, but he's the old guy, right? Couldn't he just be wandering around senile? The mayor is not certainly senile. He's a sprightly man who can teach both calligraphy and swordsmanship. He probably got lost somewhere like me. Lost Rika? How? I want to take you home with me. Getting lost is the only cute because children like Rika-chan do it. A worn out old man getting lost isn't moe in the slightest. While my mind entertained dumb thoughts like that our teacher arrived, everyone rushed to their seats. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. The class greeting was normal, but the atmosphere in the room was heavy. Some of you may already heard, but last night, despite the late hour, the mayor never came home. Is there anyone here who saw the mayor yesterday? Well, I guess now we know who got demoned away. One or two hands went up in silence, and they told her about having seen them. None of it seemed to be vital information, however, and everyone began whispering amongst themselves. If anyone has seen the mayor, please tell an adult about it, alright? Now then, let's begin class. After that, the same old lessons began. The rumors, once quieted, blossom in flowers again at lunchtime. I could hear a few different conversations. They were mostly related to the mayor's disappearance. Summing them all up, I came out with this. Yesterday evening, the mayor went to a meeting at the shrine's assembly hall. The meeting ended after the sun fully set and everyone left. The elder's house was a bit far from the center of Hinamizawa. It was already late and Hinamizawa doesn't have a lot of lights outside. Nobody saw the mayor after the meeting. However, because he would have been hungry, he couldn't have taken any side trips. He would have gone straight home. However, no matter how long his family waited, he never returned. Some thought there might have been an accident. They left no stones unturned. They searched from the irrigation channels to the water wells, and even in the rice paddies, but they didn't find him. Of course, there was a limit to how far they could search in the middle of the night. The police were going to wait for daylight, then the young men at the town helped search. If after all that they still didn't find him, they were apparently going to go looking in the mountains. Even now, at this moment, the adults were probably all searching for him. The more they search in vain, and the more time passed, the only thing that came to mind was the curse. The rumors of Oni Kaikushi, of the demoning away. Had he become this year's sacrifice to Oya Shido-sama's curse, which has been recently occurring every year? That scary possibility everybody thought about, but nobody could say aloud, but slowly but surely spreading throughout the village? Was he demoned away and offered as a sacrifice to quell Oya Shido-sama's anger? My classmates were whispering to each other that the curse didn't happen this year, so there shouldn't have been any sacrifices. I, on the other hand, I knew the curse did happen again this year, and there were 2 people that died. This may sound strange, but I hadn't exactly thought the elder would be the one to go missing. My reason was clear. Shion and I should have been a higher priority than him. The 4 of us were thieves that broke the taboo and set foot into the sacred ritual storehouse. If Tomitake-san and Takano-san had suffered mysterious deaths, then it should have been mine and Shion's turn next. This time should have been Mio and me, eh? I laughed painfully to myself. I yelled at Shion over the phone that I didn't want to end up in such a terrifying situation, but now that someone other than me had disappeared, I could only think that I should have been the first to go. Onigafuchi, the bottomless swamp, said to have been the place where they had drowned sacrifices long ago. Just as it ran through my thoughts, the villagers must have also considered the swamp. Maybe police divers were plumbing in its depths even now. They probably wouldn't find anyone. Not a single missing person had ever been found. They always suspected Onigafuchi, but not once had they ever turned up a corpse from it. After all, it was a devilish bottomless swamp from which no one who sinks can ever return. I could hear someone telling their friend that in the classroom. Now that you mention it, Satoshi-san, he left around this time last year, didn't he? I mean, it wouldn't be deep enough if you, like, went to, like how you get too deep in the ocean, it would crush, like, the metallic parts when you're diving, like this, like the scuba gear, like the oxygen tank. Now that you mention it, Satoshi-san, he left around this time last year, didn't he? Huh? Satoshi? I've heard that name before. He was right. He disappeared because of last year's curse. The conversation was happening in the seat next to me, so I hear it clearly. Didn't we search the whole village like this for Satoshi-chan? Or Satoshi-san? Oh my god, Satoshi-san too? We didn't find him either. What did we decide that was? A demoning away, right? Yeah, I heard he withdrew all his saving and ran away from home. Someone from the police said that there was someone who saw him get on the bullet train at Nagoya Station. Ran away, huh? I wasn't that interested in the reason, which seemed understandable in this case. Everyone else who disappeared had their own reasons too. Either they were still on the run because they were criminals, or they were a corpse that couldn't be found. It's not like any of them suddenly disappeared into the thin air for no reason. But they disappeared. Someone disappeared whenever the curse took a life as if by design. They may have disappeared for various understandable reasons, but they still disappeared. From that point of view, it really might have been a demoning away this time. The mayor's disappearance was the first such incident without a clear reason behind it. Of course, coming to that realization didn't help to resolve anything. It looks like I messed up the seasoning today. Sorry. Normally, Rena would have devoured her lunch immediately, but today there was still a ton left. It wasn't because Rena's lunch didn't taste good or anything, though. That isn't the case. Your lunch today is as delicious as always. Satoko dips her chopsticks into Rena's bento box and pulls bits of food out one after the other. Yes, delicious indeed. Today in particular, in fact. Chomp chomp. Huh, you know, those are pumpkin croquettes, right? Are you okay? Yes. If it's your pumpkin, then it's delicious. Does Satoko dislike pumpkin? Regardless, she forced herself to smile and shoved more into her mouth. Oh, good grief. Everyone knew. Nobody's lunch tasted very good today. Satoko kept shoveling it down, repeating her remark on how good it was. If it's that good, then I guess I've got to have some too. Satoko is gonna eat it all if we let her. It's just so good, so I would certainly like if Keiji-san were to eat some as well. Well, sometimes I have to show my adult generosity, right? Okay, don't hold back on my account. Eat enough for both of us today. She really hated pumpkin, didn't she? That made it all the more touching to see Satoko's own brand of generosity. I grabbed her head and started stroking it. Satoko, in a somewhat exaggerated fashion, was bawling, tears streaming down her face. No way! You'll never grow up if you give away such good food. Rena, you eat too. I only have leftover vegetable stew, but it tastes great after having sat overnight. Yeah, the daikon radish has such a pretty color going through it. It looks delicious. I guess I'll have some then. Rena reached out with her chopsticks, and last night, the usual lunchtime atmosphere began to return. That was only at our desk, however. The dark tales of Oyashiro-sama's curse, which had recurred for 5 years in a row, didn't cease. The classroom remained stuck in this somber mood. Oyashiro-sama's curse had happened for 5 years straight. Everyone had wanted the previous year to be the last. What was Oyashiro-sama's curse anyway? They were going to build a dam in Hinamizawa. The people building it were bad, so they were cursed. I would admit that much. Still, the dam project was frozen years ago, wasn't it? So why was the curse stubbornly persisting? I hit myself on the cheeks to perk myself back up. Everyone was trying so hard to brighten the mood, and I couldn't go straight back to thinking about the curse like that. I forced the grim story out of my head. Driving Oyashiro-sama's curse out of my thoughts was actually a good idea. In the end, that meant I would also be driving away the most terrible thought of all, that I could be the curse's next target. You know, I know there's one thing how I do. I'm gonna play this video real quick. This is how I try to erase my, horrible things like that. This will be, here's a quick meme for you, for a classic meme. Let me turn off the sound real quick.
Help! Murder!
Come on.
Stop! You violated the law. Pay the court a fine or serve your sentence. Your stolen goods are now forfeit. Then pay with your blood! Die, damn you!
So, yeah, this is what I've been talking about for a while when erasing bad thoughts in my mind. Just using this, like, scenario with Oblivion Guards like that. Anyway, Mion's taking a while, isn't she? How long does it take to wash your hands? Yeah. Mion had said she was going to wash her hands and left, and she hadn't come back yet. She's probably taking a little afternoon nap somewhere. I think she was pretty up late last night for looking for the mayor after all. I smiled worryingly and let out a sigh. Today was no good. However, how much we try to lighten the mood, things always come back to the mayor. Speaking of which, I gotta get a drink real quick. And I'm backaroo. I should also mention, like, I mentioned about those old signal intrusions, like that one in Chicago back in 1987. This was like, this was the same year my sister was born as well. The one who streams, of course. I obviously used that scenario with Oblivion Guards just to erase it in my mind, just to sleep, just to prevent all those loss of sleep I was having thanks to it. Anyway, today was no good. However much we tried to lighten the mood, things always came back to the mayor. It was just no good today. I had just transferred here recently, so the shock of a curse happening 5 years running was an unimaginably big one. Maybe I do need to appreciate that. When Michan was really little, the mayor would always spoil her. When she was going through her prankster phase, he loved her like his own daughter. She told me that often. I see. Mion was in shock too. Someone disappearing at all because of a curse was a very scary thing. By the way, Deathly, are you still around? Yeah, I know. That one signal intrusion in Chicago that I watched was pretty freaky, but not as freaky as the faked one. Like that weird video I found. Yeah. Or supposedly called the Wyoming incident, but that was faked and it was basically like a creepypasta scenario. Anyway, I don't want to talk about those again. If the sacrifice was someone you knew, though, then the shock must have been 100 times worse. Satoko, as if she come to the same conclusion, bit her lower lip and looked downward. Oh, Rika-chan is taking a while too. Maybe they're having a nice afternoon nap together. Oh my god. Hopefully she doesn't quote unquote disappear. By that, I already know what she's talking about. Ooh. Ooh, God. I'm already envisioning the... No, I don't want to spoil it. Rika wasn't out that late. As soon as she yawned, everyone gathered around her and started saying goodnight, goodnight. Now that she mentioned it, there were a lot of old people rubbing their prayer beads in fervent gratitude towards Rika-chan during the festival too. An image of the indulgent elderly came to mind. Wait, I'm trying to recall we just saw Rika-chan just now. Now that I think about it. Had Rika-chan discovered a way to get herself pampered like that? Is there a reason that old people treat Rika-chan like an idol? Idol? Oh my god. Is she their ideal image of a granddaughter or something? Oh, finally some silly music. I don't know anything about that, but I want to see Rika-chan yawning. It's probably all like, Fua. Oh, I want to take her home. I don't personally think that it's that cute. It's more of a gua. And she opens her mouth really wide so you can see the back of her throat. Oh my god, it even reminds me of the scene where you encounter Rika in Hima Tsubushi. I don't personally think it's that cute. It's more of a... Oh, right. Her throat, the thing in her throat, all wobbly. How? Rena's handy at times like these. I finally managed a heartfelt laugh. Alright, I'm on day duty, aren't I? I'll be right back real quick. Parents just came home. back for now. I need to go water the flower garden. The garden is right outside the teacher's lounge, too, so they can immediately tell if you don't do it. You don't do it right. I think Satoko-chan is cute. Not only Rika-chan. Hello? I've got a glimpse. It was so cute. Satoko-chan is cute too. I'm gonna take you home. Rena was squeezing her hand around Satoko's neck and was trying to get a look into her throat. You know, Rena is... I can't say it out loud, but she's a notorious beep, isn't she, Sweat? Hearing Satoko make a weird noise like a chicken being strangled was kind of hilarious, and I couldn't help but laugh. At some point, the classroom has erupted into laughter too. Maybe Rena was doing it on purpose. Even if she wasn't, this nonsense was a welcome sight. Anyway, let's get over to the flowers while I still have time. Slowly and quietly, lest I destroy the room's newfound peace, I left the classroom. The watering can was hanging up outside the kitchen. The building had originally been an all-male forestry service building, so there was apparently nothing so thoughtful as a garden here before. When they decide to have a school share the space, they built one there as a modest gesture of appreciation. But, well, the flower bed, it was a little longer than you'd expect. It went all around. It went all over the place. It was so big that one could... Ooh. Sorry about that. It was so big that one could refill the watering can 5 or 6 times to get it all done. I was doing this together with a kid who was also thankfully on day duty today. She was in the lowest grade though, and a full size smaller than even Rika-chan. I couldn't make a kid who would struggle just to lift the full watering can help me with this. For this, if one was placed on day duty with someone one liked, they'd do it all for you. So it'd be cake. No point in blaming her, I give up. I'll just get started. Watering can in hand, just as I was about to leave the building, the old man from the forestry office addressed me. Sonny, there's a vegetable garden out behind the warehouse, right? It's all just about dried up. Watered that too, would you? Oh, you mean the curry vegetable garden? The one with the potatoes and carrots and other things that are only ingredients for curry. It's definitely the personal garden of the curry-loving teacher, but... Oh, I actually remember that. Making students responsible for its upkeep is getting them involved in her personal affairs. I couldn't say that to his face, though, so I gave up and decided to carry out my day duties. Sunlight out front was strong. The great chorus of cicadas was strongly underlining how nothing was more today than yesterday. I passed by the classroom, and I don't know how it happened, but Rena and Satoko were in the middle of a huge melee. While I was gone, the kids had arranged all of the desks in a circle, forming a ring while everyone was cheering them on. Jerry, 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 Jerry. I've heard that show finally ended. This Jerry Springer show. And I think we know that, Maroon. Yeah, that's how it should be. Once school ended, we would need to return to reality where talk of the elders' disappearance would once again be all over the place. I wanted everyone to just forget about everything and have fun, just like yesterday, if only while they were at school. In that sense, Satoko's whirling elbow and Rena's backward flying spin kick made for her presence. Oh, God. Even if as a result, they flipped over my desk. That's my pencil box. Gah. Now I'll just let it happen today. I set to work, hastily watering everything, wanting nothing more than to be done as soon as possible. Yeah, that should about do it. No sooner than I thought than I remembered that I had to water the teacher's curry vegetable garden too. That's such a pain. I have a feeling that it's about to come back to bite me if I don't. I gave up, filled the water again, and headed behind the warehouse. This is the place students didn't like to go. It was always damp here. You couldn't discard the possibilities of slugs and pill bugs being around. Oh, she's okay. So when I ran across her in a place like that, I was surprised. Whoa! Oh, it's Rika-chan. Don't scare me like that. Rika-chan was just standing there like a puppet devoid of life. I was the only one who was startled here. Rika-chan didn't seem to have to react to my appearance. Rika-chan? Finally, she noticed me. Her expression was clearly abnormal. There was red under her eyes, stained with tears and dirt. There were blades of grass stuck in her hair too, and her clothes looked as though she'd fallen to the ground. Rika-chan, are you hurt? Did you fall? No, that isn't it. Rika-chan said in the brightest voice she could manage as she rubbed her eyes. She didn't look anywhere near normal though. What happened? You weren't sleeping on the storehouse roof and then fell off or anything, did you? Don't worry about me. I have something I want to ask you, Keiji. Rika-chan walked over and clung to me. At first, I thought she was playing a trick on me. Eventually, however, I realized that... Oh, God. Eventually, however, I realized it was so that I wouldn't run from the question she was about to ask. I shuddered. What? What do you want from me? She looked straight into my eyes. Her upturned eyes bored tight into me. It was as though they were trying to pull the answers out of my own eyes without actually asking me the question. It was scary, so I averted my eyes away from her. Hey, G, did you do something bad on the night of the festival? Oh, good grief. My body gave a jolt from its very core. Rika-chan, who was clinging to me, might have felt my shiver. A nervous tingle crawled up on my feet, and after going up my back and freezing my entire body, it made its way into the brain. KG, do you really not remember? My head began to throb. I don't understand anything. Here we go with the inverted colors. Mion asked me. Mr. Oishi asked me. Shion asked me. And now Rika-chan was asking me. We thought nobody knew about what we did last night. In fact, everyone knew. They all knew, and they came to ask me. Again and again until I admitted it. When I thought about it, it was pretty clear the whole thing was out in the open. After all, don't Tomitaki-san's and Takano-san's death prove it? Keiji? How should I respond? We never should have entered the forbidden storehouse, even though I regretted it so much. Was she saying it wasn't enough? However, I had all but decided what I was going to say. I'm not exactly a good kid, you know. I've done a lot of bad things, so I can't remember anything specific. Just as I had with all the others, I evaded the question. Rika-chan stared at me with innocent eyes. Her eyes were so painful that I had to look away. After a few moments of mutual silence, Rika-chan released me. I'm sorry for asking you something strange. Please forget about it, she said, smiling her usual smile. Then tap, 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 tap. She went running off as if nothing happened. As she retreated in silence, I could feel her accusing me. Rika-chan. She didn't hear my voice, and I was going to give up. However, she heard it. Rika-chan swiveled around and waited for me to continue. I was the one who had questions now. Still, any of them could just be a lazy way of admitting of what I did. Hey, Rika-chan? What is it? If everyone knows anyway, then I should be able to at least ask this, right? Why is everyone asking me about the night at the festival? That evening, had I done something that wrong? I felt plenty sorry about it, and I only looked anyway. I didn't break anything or steal anything. Really? Still, Tomitake-san and Takano-san, they died so miserably. Since those two had comes to such an end, obviously there's no way it would only forgive me. Rika-chan cutely tilted her head in confusion and waited for me to say something. If I were to admit to what happened that night, though, she might suddenly do a 180, as if flipping the switch. That would make sense. Rika-chan was the shrine maiden. She would at least likely forgive me for breaking the taboo, wasn't she? Upon reflection, wouldn't telling her be more terrifying than telling Mion or Mr. Oishi? Rika could just give up and leave, couldn't she? She didn't. She only was very quietly and waiting for me to say it myself. Say it, Keiji Maibara. If you really are sorry, then you should say so. Of course, it's normal to hesitate given the crazy way Tomitake-san and Takano-san died. A pulpy machine called Chaos was grinding up my brain. The juice wrung out of it turned into big droplets of sweat, which began to fall. Keiji? Rika-chan suddenly straightened up, trying to pat me on my head. I don't really understand what you're worried about, Keiji. I had nothing to say to that. I lowered my head so that Rika-chan's palm could reach it. She petted me, kind of like one would a cat. Do you know about the big storehouse a little way behind the shrine grounds? It stores implements we use for rituals. My breath literally stopped. Rika-chan, though, wasn't acting in a coercive way at all. Apparently on the night of the festival, a cat snuck into the storehouse. A cat? Yes, a cat. Meow meow. Rika-chan knew. She realized I was in fear. I could tell she was desperately trying to choose the right words so she wouldn't scare me. The cat wanted to explore the inside of the storehouse, but I was mean to it, and it never let it go inside. So on the night of the festival, the cat couldn't hold itself back any longer and went inside. The cat? It was clearly supposed to be Takano-san. Or wait, was it supposed to be me? Inside, there was actually a lot of things that scared the cat. Rika-chan made a cute gesture like a ghost was coming out to frighten me. The cat was both terrified and amazed. It ran away as fast as it could. Clatter, shiver, clatter, clatter, shiver, shiver, meow, meow. It was terrible. This cat, who are you saying it was? The cat is a cat. Meow, meow. Rika-chan still avoided saying it. The cat, though, was without a doubt me. Rika-chan, please, tell me. The cat, what should it do now? Maybe it was a desperate question to ask. I have sort of admitted being the cat. The cat is just a cat, so it can just keep meowing and everything will be fine. Everything will be fine? That's stupid. Shouldn't it just keep meowing? Jeez, Rika-chan and I put together an entire conversation using cat as a code word. I didn't say it directly, but I had already admitted it. I didn't want to end up like those two. I didn't want to be a sacrifice like Shion said. That's what I thought, so I stubbornly remained silent. But now that's enough. It just can't keep meowing. The dog saw the cat making mischief and sneaking inside. The dog? That's right. It was the dog. It keeps coming to the cat and trying to get it to say that it snuck inside. After I said that, Rika-chan's expression clouded over. She was trying to hide it, but I already noticed her eyes darkening. Rika-chan? This silence was frightening, so I spurred her on. At that point, Rika-chan grinned. It's alright. I'll protect the cat. My god, ma'am. Huh? I thought for a moment that I misheard those words, so dependable they were. The cat is really scared, but it really isn't all that bad. I think of all the dogs are just misunderstanding. It's not at all bad. The cat is worrying too much. I'll do something about it for sure. Rika-chan will do something about it? I don't even know what's left from right at that moment, so Rika-chan didn't look all that dependable. It might be hard, but I'll do my best. Go for it, yay! She clenched her fist and stuck it to the air. Rika-chan said that the cat can just keep meowing. She said to leave it all to her. Is that really all it took to resolve this whole thing? Will you really be alright, Rika-chan? If I don't do my best, then something bad could happen to the dogs too. I had no idea what Rika-chan was talking about anymore. She had been talking to me under the assumption that I was aware of certain things, so at first I understood her. Around the middle, I stopped understanding anything. However, one thing I did know was not to worry and to leave it to her. Rika-chan straightened up once again, patted me on my head, and smiled. I was so moved by the reassuring feeling that I couldn't help but start to cry. I'm so sorry. Cat, it was really just a little bit of mischief. Didn't think any of this would. It's too much of a scaredy cat. That's why it should never have been seen the storehouse. She was right. It was far too shocking for someone to see based on a little bit of interest alone. That's why I made it so difficult to look at the first place, wasn't it? Rika-chan? Oh, Rika-chan, what happened to the cat? Two of the cats snuck in. Well, that night I heard Tomitake-san and Takano-san's death were being kept a secret. Rika-chan might have known about it. Tomitake and Takano? I gave a start at a sudden mental of actual names. Though it's weird to do it at this point. You should forget about them. My spine froze again. Forget? Yes. It won't do you any good to remember those two, Keiji. The more you think about it, the scarier it will get. So you should just forget about them as soon as possible. She said something so enormously terrifying without letting the smile on her face waver at all. I don't know where you heard about it from, but you should forget everything. Make your mind as clean as a scrub bathtub. Forget Rika-chan. You know, don't you? You know how those two died. No matter how they died, it has nothing to do with you, Keiji. Rika declared this in a flat voice. Nothing to do with me. So forget about it. The girl before me, she was innocent and lovable, and even seemed trustworthy, but suddenly she took on another dimension. Don't get involved with their deaths. I'll help you, Keiji. Those two contradictory statements twisted and distorted my image of the girl in front of me. What about Shion? What happened to her? It might have been dangerous to mention Shion's name, but... I couldn't stop myself from asking. Rika-chan saw through everything anyway. There was no way I was going to fool her or keep anything from her at this point. The younger sister of the cat? The younger of the sister's cats? Meow meow? Yeah, little sister cat. Rika-chan appeared to think upon this for a moment. It was hard for me to endure even this momentary silence. The big sister cat is angry. The little sister cat did something bad, so she's really mad. The big sister cat? I could only mean Mion. I recall her being questioned by her yesterday. Keiji? The big sister cat is not in a good mood at all. I think we should leave her alone for a while. Not in a good mood? Those words sent a shiver through me. Mion was mad. She was mad that we entered the ritual storehouse. Let's stop having club from now on. Huh? Why? I think we should leave her alone. Rika-chan ended her sentence with such force that I couldn't say anything in response. Hey, Keiji Maibara. Don't disobey Rika-chan right now. She's the only one who said she'll help me right now. I'll leave things to her just as she said to. I mean, she even said that the cat should just keep meowing. I'll forget everything like she said. I'll just leave everything to her. I'll forget everything about Takano-san and Tomitake-san and what I did that night. Oh, my head started to feel light. Oh, okay. Just then we heard a bell, far away, marking the end of the lunch break. I guess we should go back to class. Keiji, as she had noticed how miserable I was, about to leave everything to her and flee the scene, Rika-chan called out to stop me. If the misunderstanding dog comes to try and bite the cat, please tell me, okay? The misunderstanding dog? She put it in such a cute sounding way, but the true meaning behind those words was an eerie one. Who is the misunderstanding dog? The dog that bit the mare. I don't know why I did that. If it was going to bite anyone, it wouldn't have been a trickster cat first. Yeah. The flow of blood in my body felt like it completely stopped for a moment. Rika-chan had admitted it. Sacrifices of that terrible calamity. She admitted that if they were going to happen again, it would be Shion or I. This I didn't know was true about the girl standing before me. My suspicions gave way to fear, and nearly began to change into anger. Was she a savior who would protect me? Or a stranger trying to capture and kill me for the sake of a horrible tradition? I had no idea what was true. I'm sorry. The cat is already scared. I think I said something to scare it even more. I'm really sorry. Rika-chan bowed quickly as it looked like her head had been pulled downward. She was right. I was cowering. I could distinctly feel my body shaking violently, so when Rika-chan reached her hand out to pat me on the head, I pulled away without thinking. Rika-chan made a very sad face, but I just couldn't bring myself to put out my head for her again. That day, Rika said she wasn't feeling up for club activities that day, so she suggested we not bother. There's always vetoes when someone doesn't feel up for it. Rena and the others seem really disappointed. The big sister cat is not in a good mood. I remember Rika-chan's word, and she quietly stole a glance at Mion's expression. If I could forget the way she questioned me yesterday, though, her behavior was the same as it always was. Looks like it's nighttime. After dinner, without the energy to watch TV, I climbed into the futon in my bedroom and let my head be overtaken by gloomy thoughts. I told Rika-chan anything and everything. She had seemed trustworthy at the time, but had that really been the right choice? The more I look back on it, the less I understood what Rika-chan was saying. Not only did she know about Takano-san and Tomitake-san's death, but she spoke of them as if they were a concerned party. After all this time in my futon, I began to tremble fiercely. Had I been lured in by Rika-chan's sweet smile and told her things I shouldn't have? I should have continued to feign ignorance. I shouldn't have showed her a weak side of me. My emotions were a mix of regret and fear, and it colored the darkness of the night with an additional layer of air. Suddenly, a knock. Yeah, that was actually the table, not the door behind me. You know, like I usually do in an ASMR stream. Anyway, I might have yelped. That's how surprised I was. Keiji! I've been calling your name for a while. You have a phone call. It's from Sonosaki-san. It was Dad. I reached out for the cordless phone through the gap in my door. Sonosaki-san? Which one? The older sister or the younger? I don't know. Ask her yourself. I took the receiver and buried myself in my futon again. Hello? Mion? Or is this Shion? It's me, Shion. Good evening. I practically jumped out of bed. It was Shion, who I hoped so desperately would call me back last night. Shion, sorry about last night. I got all riled up. I heard what sounded like a deep sigh on the other end. You and me are in the same position, aren't we? I shouldn't have blamed you for everything like that. I'm sorry. So please, cheer up. I called you because I'm in a better mood. If you're sorry, then I'll forgive you. So please stop apologizing. Shion's tone sounded a little angry, but for a moment, she said she'd forgive me. You're right too, we're tied to the same fate. Making sure the other is alright is the only way to guarantee our own safety. Yeah, I agree. We absolutely need to share whatever information we have. So that we don't die like Takano-san and Tomitake-san did. Oh. I forced myself to swallow a solid drop of saliva. Ugh. Now let's continue from where we left off. You'll listen without getting angry this time, right? Yeah, I'll be fine. Firstly, it seems sneaking into the ritual storehouse was more of a taboo than we thought. Takano-san and Tomitake-san's miserable ends terrible enough that you could call them a warning. They were more than enough for me to believe that. The culprits killed those two, the ones responsible for soloing the storehouse, and they'll come for us next. I know you want to deny that, but please accept it. It'll be too late to believe me after you've disappeared, okay? I got it. You can never be too careful after all. I don't want to accept it either. To think that sneaking in a peek at the museum of torture devices deserves a death like that, I don't want to believe it. That's what a taboo is. For those who honor it, if one breaks the taboo, no matter how small or innocent their intentions were, they wouldn't be forgiven. Like, let's report anything we've noticed that seems strange. If we connect all the tiny pieces that we have, then maybe we'll find out who killed them, or maybe even the truth behind the incidents of the previous years. We could find the key that will resolve everything. You're right. You're right about that. All I do was waiting in fear, but Shion had already thought that far ahead. Given how untrustworthy she felt, I became embarrassed over how passive I was being. Then I'll start since I suggested it. I feel like somebody has been watching me lately. What? It might be my imagination, but I'll tell you anyway. I think it's just me, but I feel like if you're being watched too, Kei-chan, then maybe it's just my imagination. Well, don't worry. At the very least, everything's been fine for me. I think. As I spoke with Shion, I thought back on today. I had no grounds to say everything was fine. I see. Then I suppose it was my imagination. But you be careful too, Kei-chan. Be especially careful when you're by yourself in public. I'm in Okinomiya, so I won't be alone very often, but you live in Hinamizawa. There will be a lot of times you'll be alone. Please be extra careful. You're right. Yeah, I'll be careful. Also, about my sister, has she been acting strange lately? Your sister? Oh, Mion, right. What do you mean by acting strangely? Well, yesterday she came to me and asked me where I was on the night of Watanagashi. What? That she asked me too. The day before yesterday, I think Mion asked me. I see. I told her I wasn't there. What did you say? I did the same thing. I just dodged the question. Both of us gave a quiet sigh of relief. Ever since the night of the festival, my sister has been acting strangely. We can't be too careful, so just be aware, okay? Mion was acting strangely. Aside from her asking about the night of the Watanagashi, she hadn't seemed too out of the ordinary. At least from my point of view. Her twin sister, though, was saying she was acting weird. Maybe it was such a slight change that a stranger like me wouldn't be able to notice. Got it. I'll start being careful. I'll always have Rena with me on my way back from school, so I shouldn't end up alone with Mion very often. Please, be careful. If there's anything that's bothering you, you can tell me. Alright. Okay, then, is there anything you want to tell me, Kei-chan? My turn. That's right, maybe I should report on Mr. Oishi asking the same question at the library. Oh, that time when you were too slow to escape? Yeah, Mr. Oishi asked me pretty forcefully whether I was with Takano-san and Tomitaki-san that night. where I had seen you. Mr. Oishi seemed to have seen the four of us together. From the police point of view, that would make us the last people who had seen them. I suppose, given that it's only natural that they'd be interested in us. I evaded the question then too, but that might just made them more interested. There was no way I could have tricked that sly old fox, Mr. Oishi. My trouble count continuous would have only made him even more certain. Hey, Shion, since they're the police, shouldn't we tell them? I mean, considering our situation, I think having them on our side would be a good thing. Thanks for the host, by the way, Neptunia Monster. I really appreciate that. But yeah, hello to everyone that joined Neptunia Monster stream. Welcome and enjoy the show. Sorry, pizza just came in, so I'll be right back real quick, you guys. Enjoy some little AFK music from an old PC game. And I'm back. I've never seen that before, an anonymous cheer. I would love to see that again. Okay. Hey, Shion, since they're the police... Shion didn't answer right away. And thanks. I'm just gonna assume Deathly did it. For a few moments, all I could hear was her breathing as she thought about it. Now that I think about it, Mr. Oishi said there was something possibly shady about Mion. At least that's what I think he said. Yeah, he definitely did. As I explained yesterday, the Sonosaki family holds a lot of influence over Hinamizawa. Oishi is under the impression that the whole village with the Sonosaki family is the center of it all, and is responsible for the recurring freak deaths. But yeah, I'm back, you guys. I'm back, you guys, and thanks. And the whole village is behind them with the Sonosaki family at the center. Please, don't get angry like you did yesterday and just listen. I hammered that home before I got too upset. During the Hinamizawa Dam Wars, the priest who everyone was anticipating would lead the anti-dam movement acted as though he were not unrelated. The Sonosaki main house rolls up to take charge. My sister told you about all those battles that happened, right? Yeah, all the Hinamizawa got together and fought as one. They held protests, brought it to court, and even appeared on TV. In reality, there were many things that happened that were far more extreme. Under the surface, the Sonosaki main house was doing all sorts of illegal things to oppose it. They were acting illegally. For example, they would sneak into the construction site in the middle of the night and steal equipment, or break it, or put sugar cubes in the gasoline tanks of the construction vehicles. Sugar in their gasoline tank? Why would they? You don't know? It's practically the representative guerrilla tactic. It was used by underground organizations in France in World War II for one. When you put sugar in, the engine gets burned out and breaks down. What? That's pretty bad, isn't it? It's the destruction of property and nothing less. When they beef up the guard at the construction facility, the family turned to attacking important construction personnel who worked there. Oh. The government officials who had given permission... Oh god, that startled me. Thanks for the cheers, anonymous cheerer. Really appreciate that. I get the feeling it's you, Deathly. For example, received all kinds of threats, not just people from the prefectural office. Yeah, I know. Either apparently this far... Yeah, it did make the swampert noise. Yeah, you're just trying to startle me. Because I know it's just me, Maroon, and Deathly talking as of now, and Scenic lurking. Yeah. Apparently this reaches as far as the Ministry of Construction. As far as I heard, they even kidnapped a child once. Kidnap? Yes, the child of an important person in the Ministry of Construction who was in charge of the Hinamizawa Dam got spirited away. Then one day, all of a sudden, he was rescued in the Takasudo Mountains, which are upstream from Hinamizawa. Yep. Apparently there was never any criminal accusations, but people whispered that it had been a threat to stop the dam construction from happening. Besides that, there are stories about so many threats that I couldn't possibly list them all. Wow, that's sort of bad, isn't it? Right in the middle of the whole thing, the first incident happened. That's when the dismemberment of a construction manager occurred. People whispered that the Sonosaki family had bought it out, the principal offender, but of course he fled and they still haven't found him. When she put it that way, the Sonosaki family definitely seemed suspicious. Mr. Oishi even seemed to think that the criminal was her race so he wouldn't talk, which is pretty reasonable of him. It's even though to make me think that the Sonosaki main house is doing some really shady things behind the scenes, even though I'm related to them. Are you telling me to believe that? That the Sonosaki main house where Mion lives has done all those bad things? You're telling me to believe it? Even if you don't, Kei-chan, the villagers do. While they oppose the dam in upright and lawful ways, the Sonosaki house did the dirty work for them. Everyone believes that they fought at the front, so they were the brunt of the criticism. So they're respected as sort of heroes of darkness. I think I only know one part of it. For example, the really bad stuff like the kidnapping, I think only a handful of people even know about it, even including Grandma. The Sonosaki family is secretive after all. Secretive, huh? A family so unforthcoming that even Shion, who is related to them, doesn't know everything about them. The Sonosaki family, unlike Shion, her older twin Mion, was deeply involved with everything. And that was not a fun thought to entertain. My sister, though young, was the one who acted as the center of the illegal resistance movement. Mion was? What do you mean? Well, Dad is a big shot Yakuza. Even when she was little, my sister managed to subjugate a bunch of young street rats. Then she played all the sorts of tricks on them and generally got in their way. Mion did that? Now she's pretty laid back, so it might be hard to imagine. They put her in charge of everything, from the property damage to the threats and even acts of violence. Though, since she was a kid, they could get her released pretty easily. She learned that her age could be used as a weapon. It may have been indiscreet, but I couldn't help but chuckle dryly. She may have been young, but she was certainly still Mion. Even back then, she had already been known for her craftiness. It's nothing to laugh about. Please take this seriously. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Shion had gotten pretty angry at me. Well, her delinquency soon got her into a position of authority in the Sonosaki main house. It's not unthinkable that Oishi suspects them for the dismemberment. Oh, sorry about that. And the later ones, too. For a few moments, I was dumbstruck at the tales of Mion's past. None of them matched the image I had of her. A younger Mion, dirtying her hands with all sorts of crimes, giving the dam project a lot of trouble. As a successor to the Sonosaki main family, she was always right at the center of the vortex of strange incidents occurring year after year. Was that really the Mion I know? Maybe the one I know isn't the real Mion. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't bring myself to accept these images of Mion I was hearing from another person. Well, back to the main subject. I just wanted you to know that my sister is someone worth being cautious around. Please, be careful. I didn't want to understand. Mion was a fantastic friend. She would never do something to back me into a corner like that. She did ask me pretty harshly about the night at the festival, but even that, it wasn't like she'd said it in a mean way or anything. Alright, I'll make sure to be careful. Within the Sonosaki family, we're basically of a different class. I want you to recognize how distant they are from me. Please? The more Shion tells me about Mion, the less I understand who Mion is. The Mion I know wasn't a dangerous person. She joked around, smiled a lot, and was full of passion. Now that I realize I held such a view towards her, Shion was telling me to change it. To be careful around her best friend ever. The best friend ever. To doubt her? The idea was very sad and painful. Now, about Oishi. If you ever think it's a good idea, then I think we should give him the information he needs. I think getting the police on our side will work in our favor. You thought so too, Shion? It's just that moment like I explained. The police have their eyes on the Sonosaki family already. Oishi, in particular, completely believes that they're the masterminds behind the serial events. And that includes me, of course. So I really don't want much to do with Oishi. I see. If Mr. Oishi had found out about the Sonosaki family's strife-filled history, then he probably wouldn't be very happy with Shion either. At last, I understand Mion's instinctive dislike for Mr. Oishi. It's probably out in the open at this point, but try not to give my name to him. If you agree to that, then I don't think there's a problem with you telling him anything. I got it. I won't mention your name. The police investigative ability should be quite a reliable weapon for us right now. If Oishi tells you that anything interesting, then let me know as well. Yeah, of course. We'll share information and investigate together. Who killed Takano-san and Tomitake-san? Who was after us? Until we know, we need to defend ourselves. Anything else? Besides what Oishi told you, I mean? If anything has happened, no matter how minor, please tell me. Aside from my discussion with Mr. Oishi. Oh, should I tell her that I revealed everything to Rika-chan? Rika-chan was acting like she knew something I didn't. She told me to leave it to her, but what? Ah, that's right. When I was talking to her, I mentioned Shion's name too. Was that a mistake? I felt like Shion would get angry. Nothing else? Kei-chan? I remained quiet for a little while, so Shion encouraged me to speak, unable to bear the silence. As I struggled with what to say, Shion addressed me instead. It doesn't sound like it, so can I ask you something? I just heard this myself. Is it true that old man Kimiyoshi went missing? The old man Kimiyoshi? My gut told me that was the name of the mayor. You mean the mayor? Wait, Shion, you haven't heard? I don't know anything. I just overheard my dad talking about it on the phone again. I realized I shouldn't have said that. Here in Hinamizawa, the things happen around this time when Oyashiro-sama's curse would recur. Would it all be covered up? Yeah, actually last night after a meeting, he didn't come home, so all of Hinamizawa was confused. They all searched through the village, but if they found him, then I haven't heard. The police should be searching for him as well. Why didn't you tell me something that important right away? She shouted at me angrily, bringing all her emotions to bear. Sorry, I thought you already knew. I didn't want to hide or anything. The receiver was silent. Did Shion get mad again and hang up? Hey, Shion, hello? Hey, Chan. What? What should I do? Shion's tiny, confused voice sounded like it belonged to a different person than the one yelling a few seconds ago. What's wrong? Tell me. We're not keeping secrets from each other, right? Shion hesitated for a long while, but then she confessed. I'm sorry. Well, I didn't mean to hide it. It was just that, well, the conversation got turned around and we're on the same side, right? I won't get mad. So tell me honestly. Shion still hesitated for a few moments, and in a resigned voice she continued. Old man Kimiyoshi, I told him everything. Shion seemed to think I would yell at her right after she said that, so I heard her catching her breath. Contrary to what she thought, I was a little relieved. Shion had done the same thing I had when I confessed everything to Rika-chan. So, in as gentle a voice as I could, as to not set her off, I responded, Old man Kimiyoshi, he's someone you feel comfortable confiding in, Shion? Yes, he would. When I was little, he was really nice to me. Shion felt the same pain as the rest of us from the mayor's disappearance. She had that kind of strength from Mion, and she continued, her voice sounding truly sad and pained. All I did was play tricks on him, but he was always smile. He listened to anything I had to say. He was such a kind person. Calm down, Shion. It's not like he's dead, right? Don't lose heart so easily. Shion didn't answer, even if, as I said it myself, I think we'd find the missing mayor again. We probably wouldn't have figured out if he was alive or dead. Shion must have been thinking the same thing. I have no idea. That night, I told the mayor that we snuck into the ritual storehouse. Also, that someone saw us and was out to get us. Does the mayor know how absurdly Takano-san and Tomitake-san died? Yes, he knew about it. I told him that they died by Oyoshiro-sama's curse and that I could be made a sacrifice to calm his anger. I just said it straight out. Right. What then? Old man Kimiyoshi didn't get angry. He smiled and told me that if I was properly sorry about it, there was no way I'd be demoned away. He was really smiling, and he told me to leave it to him. Though Shion stopped sobbing, I was able to find any words for her. I couldn't imagine what kind of person the mayor was, nor what Shion's relationship with him was like. Words of comfort, however, means so much to us when we're about to be crushed by anxiety. Today, Rika-chan taught me that too. If someone who gave me a sense of security were to disappear, then I could guess what kind of shock Shion was in. It's my fault, because I revealed everything. Stop it, Shion. It's not your fault. No! It is my fault! I told him everything. Old man Kimiyoshi found out about everything, so he has to have been killed. It was right after I told him, after all. He disappeared the same night that I confessed, and he told me everything was going to be alright. He found out, so he became involved. I should have never told him. All this should have just been our fault. Only the four of us. It wasn't something I should have told to someone else. He got killed because I told him. He got killed because he knew. He got killed because I revealed it. Hey, stop! If they were doing that, then they would obviously have killed you before killing the mayor. The order is all wrong. You or I should have been killed first. Why would someone else get killed first? No, it's an order. They must be planning to kill us the last of all. Huh? What? What? They're not killing the first people who come to mind. They start killing those who we're close to. And then after they cause us so much pain, they'll kill us. That must have been what they're doing. I said calm down. Shion, you're in shock. You're panicking. The mayor's disappearance has nothing to do with you. It's unconnected. It's not related to Takano-san or and Tomitake-san at all either. My words came out as a scream, as if I were shouting at myself. No! It is connected! It just has to be! I just told him so he was killed. He got killed because he knew. I confessed to him, so he got killed. She repeated the same thing as before, as though she was in a delirium. Despite my trying to console the crazed Shion, for some reason, the shadow at my feet began to freeze. From that shadow, a cold arm reached out, so cold it seemed like it would freeze my heart just by touching me, and grabbed my ankle. The heat generated my body, the arm was absorbing it. It was a horrible chill. A freezing cold, numbingly frigid. It was an inviolable chill of fear. Though I sympathized with Shion, I had been naive in thinking it was only she had to worry about. In my head, Shion's eerie words repeated again and again. She was killed because I told him. He was killed because he found out. I confessed everything. So he was killed. Those words echoed through my head like a monotone mantra, and finally those even repetition took on meaning. The quiet shaking that had already overtaken me turned into a violent shiver that shot up my spine. Rika-chan? It's Rika-chan! What? What did you say just now? Well, the truth is, I told her about it. I told Rika-chan. Today! Rika-chan, you mean Rika-chama? The one from the Furude shrine? Yes, Rika-chan. I felt so scared and uneasy that I did it. I told Rika-chan. When you did, what'd she say? The cat is worrying too much. I'll do something about it for sure. That's what Rika-chan said, and then she smiled. She smiled just like the missing mare had when he incurred Shion. I'm sorry, Shion. I'm a bit worried about Rika-chan. Alright, if you're that concerned, then don't worry about me. Please go and find whether she's safe. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll call you again tomorrow at the same time. When I do, you'll know I'm still alright. I got it. I'll be waiting. Okay, bye-bye. Sorry, I'm hanging up. I put down the receiver without waiting for Shion to say goodbye. The danger to Shion and myself was secondary at this point. My sixth sense was blaring alarms in my head. When I just read that, all I can think of is, I see dead people. I don't like this feeling. It's really bad. It's definitely bad. Please be safe, Rika-chan. I guess that's it for this chapter. As previously described, this three-family council is a mere shell of democracy. In reality, it is a dictatorship run by the Sonosaki family. Both the Kimiyoshi and Furude family are far from their former glory, and it doesn't seem at all like they've maintained the ancient traditions. Only the Sonosaki family had retained their glory from the past and had inherited many colorful traditions from the age known as Onigafuchi village. Even the more recent verifiable example of Watanagashi that occurred at the end of the Meiji era seems to have been done under the orders of the Sonosaki family, referred to the three-family genealogical tree from the late Meiji. After the start of the Meiji era, the Sonosaki family wanted to push the development of Hinamizawa, so they took a strong role in leadership. During the Dam Wars a few years ago, the Kimiyoshi family served as the chair of Opposition Alliance, but was in the name only. In actuality, the Sonosaki family reigned as leader behind the scenes. People whispered that perhaps the Kimiyoshi family dictated acts of opposition that they could be publicized, and the Sonosaki family enacted those which could not. Even when Hinamizawa, they answered that the multitude of unsettling incidents reported during the dam protests, such as kidnapping of the famous head of the Ministry of Construction's son, had been carried out by the Sonosakis. Additionally, they said that the Sonosaki family's secretive maneuvering was responsible for the serial freak death incidents that have continuously occurred in the recent years as well. The serial freak incidents are without a doubt the second coming of the traditional Watanagashi. They must be enacting the Watanagashi on the day of the original Watanagashi, which has fallen to the level of an ordinary village festival, in order to remind the villagers of the holy laws of Onigafuchi village. It's safe to assert that exploring the Sonosaki family is the fastest route for researching it today. If I can expose the contents of the Furude Shrine storehouse, I'd like to narrow my research target to the Sonosaki family next. The Sonosaki house is strictly guarded by security cameras on the premises. But thankfully, I've become acquainted with the sisters Mion, the next heir, and Shion. I want this to be a breakthrough I can connect to the next line of research. Her punishment isn't over? No, don't worry about it. You see, when you ordered the Odin here... Speaking of which, I should be doing that as soon as possible after I finish up the stream tonight. For some reason, it ends up on the annual invoice for our gas contracts. So don't be shy and have another drink. Yeah. The man red-faced waved his hand to say that he had enough and disappeared into the brilliant neon lights in the front of the station. Kuma-chan, you should be taking notes. The most modest people are the ones who live the longest. Well, was all that true? I don't know about that. Whether or not it's true, I think there's meaning in hearing something that sounds so plausible. Would something like that be a motive to go for the mayor? Kuma-chan, here's what I always say. The motive only has to be enough for the person in question. You need to think about how different people value different things. Hey, bartender, give me another mug. Though we have been suppressing the information, Tomitake and Takano's death were already known throughout Hinamizawa. All the rumors pointed out to them having incurred the wrath of Oyashiro-sama for setting foot in the Forbidden Temple, the storehouse for ritual implements. According to the rumors, there were two other people who went in there with them, Shion Sonosaki and Keiji Maibara. People were whispering in the shadows that those two would be cursed by Oyashiro-sama as well. Apparently however, the responsibility didn't fall solely on the four trespassers' shoulders. Until last year it was locked up tight, but this year it's been changed to a simpler look. Hadn't that already been what allowed thieves to enter so easily? Those were rumors going around. Have you ever seen it, Kuma-chan? I remember it well. I had to go there for something quite a while back. Sorry, I don't really remember. It was locked up so tight it was scary. There were real heavy bars holding it shut. It was sealed up as good as a bank vault. This year it was very simple and cheap padlock. The lone girl protecting the shrine, Rika Furude, disliked the heavy locks and consulted with the mayor, who had replaced it with a simpler padlock. So then the mayor and Rika Furude shared the crime. So then after the mayor, wouldn't Rika Furude be in danger next? There's a decent possibility. Kuma-chan, I want to contact all the cars we have in Hinamizawa. Tell them to stick near the Furude shrine. Got it. I could already see where this is going for Rika. Well, 3 more chapters to go, it looks like, according to what I read on the Steam discussions. But yeah, that's it for Watanagashi-hen, you guys. So yeah, tomorrow, I guess I'll do Oblivion Saturday. I'll just switch around and do Oblivion Saturday, and then Sunday to relax with The Sims 2. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.